What's up, it's Tyler Casey. Welcome to Breaking It Down, where I break down my music videos and talk about the shots, how I achieved this, and a little bit of behind the scenes insight. So the music video I'm going to be breaking down today, it's been requested a few times. It's The Edge with Daboii and Young Pinch. So let's get into it.
I want you to see. It looks something like this.
But yeah, this is one of my favorite music videos that I've shot, directed, and edited. It took a long time to make. It probably took about like a month. Gotta drink coffee. If you guys drink coffee, comment below and tell me how you drink your coffee. So let's see. I'm gonna talk about Daboii scenes first. So this is the first scene we shot. This was in Northern California. I found this location. It's an abandoned church. It's a really cool spot. It's very run and gun. It was super last minute shoot. Daboii hit me up, so we went out. We shot it super fast. I was just a one-man team. So this is one of my favorite shots right here. The way I set up this scene is I had the 120T at the time. Let me spell that out, 120T. So it was a tungsten version. I had that off to the side and I had it shining in this direction. Boom. So you can see it's hitting this old lamp ballast, and then I have just a basic, aperture light up here, the aperture light Amaran, and it's just set to daylight. Boom. And I set my white balance to 4,000 Kelvin. So it's kind of in between. So the tungsten light's gonna look orange, as it does here. And then the daylight's gonna look more blue. And there was already daylight coming in, like back here and whatnot, but I wanted some to hit his shoulders. So that helps separate him from the background. And then you can see the warm tungsten is filling his face, and then we're getting the blue light hitting the side of his face. So I really like the way this one came out, and definitely when I did the color grade, I really pushed the teal and orange to kind of accent what I already had in the footage. So they kind of complemented each other, and I think it came out very nice. In between scenes, I also had Daboii push this thing hanging from the roof to kind of add a little bit more movement in the scene, and I like the way it came out. So he pushed that, and then it kind of created like a nice framing. So it's always cool to frame your subject through different things. So we have like some old wood right here. We have this framing him, and I really like the way it came out. And then he looks up at that light, kind of gets a little overexposed, but I think it's a nice contrast, and I think the scene came out really good. I'm shooting this one on an 85mm. It's the Rokinon 85mm. If you guys want to know more about the lenses I shoot on, that's one of my favorite lenses. Check out my video on my lenses for the GH5, and I go into detail about all those. This scene was simple. We just have daylight coming in. He's sitting on the stairs in front of the church. It's very overgrown. I really didn't have to do much here because this location was so awesome. So sometimes when you have the right location, you really don't have to do much to really sell where you are. Some people ask about this effect. Basically, all I did is I created a mask around his face. Then I duplicated that on top of him, and I zoomed it out and added some type of opacity layer, like difference or something like that. I love playing with opacity layers, so all you have to do is just go into the opacity tab. Yeah, I'll pull it up right now. I'm editing something. So the way to just play with the blend mode, and then you find things that look cool. So playing with the blend mode can get you a lot of cool different effects. So this was just a mask. This is just the simple VHS effect right here. Breaking that down, we got a little bit of glow going on there. So it's all about keyframing different effects, playing with things that you think work for you. So this is a cool mask right here. Basically, it's not perfect. Some people were talking and saying, oh, you didn't key that out perfectly, you didn't rotoscope that. And I already spent a lot of time on this video, and I do like spending a lot of time on my videos, but I think majority of the people aren't really gonna spend the time and pause through your video. If it's rough and it's fast, that's what I was kind of going for. I was going for a rough look. I'm not looking to have every detail, every edge perfectly cut out in this video. That's not my goal. My goal is to tell the story and make a dope visual. So I think I achieved that. If you guys don't think that, you can think whatever you want. You're entitled to your own opinion. But I like this video, and it's one of my favorite videos. So basically right here, I really just did this all in Premiere. I had some static footage, and I keyed it out to him, and I cut it out. So it's a pretty simple effect. I just had static footage, masked it out, and I kind of flickered it. This is the wide shot, so you can definitely see I have there's the hanging light that we shot through later, and there's the boards that I shot through. So I have my tripod set up right here, probably a lot higher, and then I shot in that way. Then I hid the LED light back behind there, and it shined on his hair a little bit more. So that's basically how I set that one up. So the next scene of Daboii is out here on the beach. This is shot at a NorCal beach, not in a Southern California beach where Young Pinches was shot. This is a long lens right here. So you can see I put an ND filter on. This is the 80, so bad at handwriting. I need a pen. 85 millimeter ND. So I used an 85 millimeter and I had an ND on, so I got a shallow depth of field. So you can see how creamy the background looks. You can't really see the detail, but you know he's at a beach. And then I had him perform looking out at the beach, looking towards the sun. So the sun was setting, it was probably behind some clouds. It's not super harsh light, and that's supposed to be, it's a lumpy looking sun. It's right on his face. He told me he wanted to film on the edge of something, so I knew a cliff. So we went to this cliff, and I stood out on the cliff while he sat there, and we filmed this scene. I didn't have anyone helping me. So the sun was coming right, hitting his back. You can see it separating him from the background right there. And I still can see the detail in his face. This is a little blown out, but there's nothing I could do. So I was literally standing in this bush on the side of this cliff. So I just had my bounce, the white sided bounce. I was holding the bounce with one hand, and I was filming with the other hand. So I just kept him in focus, and I filmed with one hand standing on the edge of this cliff. That's why it's always helpful to have another person helping on set. I didn't have someone helping, so I had the bounce out here off to the side, and I was filming right there. Came out pretty good. I like the way it looks. I wish you could see a little bit more of the edge, but that's as close as I could have got. Definitely safety was a concern. So basically I was flying the drone over him. It was the Phantom 4 Pro. We filmed in 4K 60 frames per second. So I slowed it down so the water's kind of stirring in slow motion, and I punched in 50%, and then I zoomed out as I pulled out. So it created the Zolly effect, the zoom dolly, the Alfred Hitchcock shot, basically where it's a parallax where you're zooming out while flying forward, and it kind of creates this weird warp. So I had to go down to LA for the Young Pin shoot. Me and shot by 806 Nick, he came out and helped. Really wanted to be efficient with this time, so we filmed this right in Huntington Beach. I found something that kind of looks similar with the cliff. So right here, this shot, I filmed this on the 12 to 35 millimeter on the GH5 on the Ronin. And I punched into 35 millimeters and shot it at a lower angle, looking up at him. So what this did is this cut out the floor, and it just had him up with the palm trees. I didn't want to show the distracting cars in the background. I didn't want to show the green grass. I knew I was going to do some type of effect in the sky and kind of make it trippy. So I kind of just wanted him to be off by himself, separated. This is one of my favorite shots right here. If you film a nice low angle shot and you stay close to the ground, you get a lot more movement. So here again, I wanted to keep him separated from all this stuff right here, all the people over here. I wanted to really just focus on Young Pinch. I didn't want to show all the cars in the back. I wanted to show that he was on a big cliff, something along the lines of what Daboii was on. He wasn't really on that big of a cliff, but I wanted to sell that. So I filmed nice and low to the ground, and then we got some nice movement from these seagulls over here. Actually, Nick was gonna try and throw tortillas out to try and get more seagulls to come up, but then we ended up scratching that idea because I thought more pigeons than seagulls would come. I didn't want a bunch of pigeons in the video. So this effect right here, this was a color key. I didn't want to spend a bunch of time keying it out. I didn't want it to be perfect. I wanted it to look gritty. And I just put some stock footage behind, I added some color to it, and then I masked out Young Pinch, and I made multiple copies of him. If you can make a mask, and if you can do a luma key, you can pull off any of these effects. And that's pretty much everything on the Young Pinch video. I didn't have too much behind the scenes to show, some exclusive footage on this one, but it's definitely cool to break down some of the effects I did and talk about some of the stuff. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell notification if you guys want to see any future videos. I'm Tyler Casey, and I'll catch you guys next time. Thanks.